Hey everybody, it's Sunday morning, which only means one thing. It's time for Blu-Roy Watches, what I've watched over the week. So if you're skipping church like me this week, stick a board and we'll have a look. I think I've got 1, 2, 3, 9, 10 to talk about this week. A bit less than last week, but I did stream a couple. But as we're all about the physical media, it's only the discs. It's all about the discs on this channel. The first that I saw, I watched this with my wife. This is one that Larry sent me over. He'd found in a charity shop. He's not a big horror fan. My wife is. It's Two Witches. Now, this is a decent modern horror. I think Arrow Video, they've tended to go down the more modern films recently. This is about a witch. And when she died, all her powers were transferred into her granddaughter. So it's sort of like it split into two parts. I'd say it was all right. Typical modern horror. Lots of jump scares. Pretty gory. Horror films seem to be getting gory and gorier these days, in my opinion. Which, opposite of comedy. Comedy seems to be getting more and more sexualised. But horror seems to go to the extreme, which is pretty strange. Yeah, it's not a bad release. There's some art cards in there, I think. A booklet. Decent poster. Two-sided. Take your pick. Which one do you like the best? I'd say definitely one not to pay full price, but in the Arrow sale, I'd recommend you pick that up. Worth £7 or £8 of anybody's money, I'd have thought. Yeah, decent horror film. Next up was another one that Larry sent me over, I believe. The Bucket List. I'd never seen this one before. Jack Nicholson, Morgan Freeman. Interesting film. Nicholson and Freeman, they're totally different characters. Jack, sort of a hard-nosed businessman, no friends, out for himself. Morgan Freeman, good family guy, loves his wife, his kids. They both end up in hospital at the same time, both diagnosed terminal cancer, and it's actually Nicholson was the owner of the hospital, and as opposites attract, these two hit it off, and they decided to go through life doing the things they'd missed out on. Yeah, so you could guess what was going on. Pretty generic story, but it was good fun. Pretty sad at the end when the inevitable happened. Yeah, give that one a watch. That's well worth it. That's the Bucket List. Next up, I watched this horror film, Hitcher in the Dark. Now, this is by Italian horror director Umberto Lenzi, who's got a big range of horror stuff. I think I've only seen one of his before, which is it's either City of the Living Dead or Nightmare City. I always get them two mixed up. And on the back of this, I'd like to see more. So if you've got any recommendations for me, please stick them down below. This was about a rich kid who'd borrowed his dad's RV or Winnebago. What's the difference between RV and a Winnebago? Is it like sort of like Winnebago's a brand name, sort of like Hoover's the brand name for a vacuum cleaner? Any of my American friends can clear that up for me. Let me know in the comments below. Yeah, this is about this rich kid. He goes around picking up young teenage girl hitchhikers, murdering, killing. You know, the usual stuff these guys do. But yeah, it's quite good. I quite enjoyed that. I thought it was going to be Italian language, but I'm guessing that Lenzi sort of must have had an American phase to his career. Yeah, good stuff. I think it's available pretty cheap, £8-9. Give that one a watch. I recommend it. Next we had, now this one I wouldn't recommend so much, Too Young to Die. The only reason I watched this is because of Brad Pitt film I'd never seen. Stars him and a young Juliette Lewis. I think this film's about 1990. So yeah, both they're young in their careers. Juliette Lewis, she's this young girl who's abused by a stepfather. So she leaves home, runs into Brad Pitt, who's also a questionable character. He's sort of like a bar drifter, and he gets her stripping, even though like she's only underage teenage girl. Then she falls into the clutches of some guy from the army. And bear in mind, like, I don't think she's even supposed to be 16 in the film at this stage. She's really, really hard life the girl leads, and it ends up in murder and her being tried for death row. And to be honest, I watched it, was nearly a week ago. I think I watched it about Monday last week, and that's about all I remember. So it's not one that's stuck in my mind. So unless you're a Pitt completionist or Juliette Lewis completionist, it's one you don't need to watch, in my opinion. That's Too Young to Die. I even had to see what the title was again. Next up, I think there's a theme here. I think it's also one that Larry sent me over. Hotel Artemis. Now this could also almost sort of be in a John Wick universe. You know, in John Wick you've got the hotel for criminals and there's all different rules. Well, this is a similar idea, but instead of a hotel, it's a hospital. It's got a decent cast. Jodie Foster, Sophia Boutella. I don't know if I said her name right. She's the girl. She plays ones with blades on in the Kingsman films, the blades for legs. It's got Jeff Goldblum in a minor role. Dave Bautista, who works as sort of the hospital orderly, stroke enforcer. This one takes a while to get going. It takes a while to set up the background of it and everything. It's only like the final half hour is really action filled, but when you get to that half hour, it's worth watching. Yeah, I'd recommend it. One to watch. Nothing you're gonna remember in much over a week or two, but yeah, decent. Next I watched now. This was a good one. I'd never seen this before, and I know it's one of James's favourites, so I saw a DVD copy in a charity shop. The Last Castle, with Robert Redford, James Gandolfino, Mark Ruffalo, great cast there. Redford, he's colonel, lieutenant in the army, something like that, the American army. He's been on a mission, he's defied orders, and some men have got killed, so he's sent to an army prison, which is James Gandolfino. He's the governor of the prison. He's an arsehole, gives all the prisoners a hard time, and it's them rebelling against him. Yeah, really, really good stuff. And one I'd really like to upgrade to Blu-ray, I think, on the back of that. Really good. I'd recommend that one. Next up, if you've seen me pick up this video, you might have seen I picked up the Final Destination quadrilogy on Blu-ray. Always had a soft spot for these. You know what you're getting with them. Good fun, good gory deaths. I watched the first one. Yeah, I just like how the deaths plan out. If you're in that sort of mood, watch a bit of violence and death, I recommend them. Next up for me, a masterpiece, La La Land. I'm not really into musicals, but I just love this. The cinematography is fantastic. The music's brilliant. The story, fantastic. Gosling and Stone, such fantastic chemistry they've got together. Really gets me at the end. Emotional stuff. For me, Damien Chazelle, he might even be the best director working today. He's done 4 films, and I think the lowest one for me, Whiplash, was a 4.5 star out of 5. The rest 5 stars. Yeah, and I think La La Land might be his best. I'd rank them, like I say, Whiplash 4th, but brilliant. First Man next, fantastic. Babylon, then La La Land's top of the tree. But I reckon if I watch Babylon next, it might swap. Really, really difficult. There's a fag paper between them for me. Yep, La La Land. By any chance you haven't watched that, get on it. Next up, I stuck in the 4K Titanic. What a beautiful, beautiful transfer. One of the best 4Ks of the year, I'd say, in my opinion. Just looks pristine. Everybody's seen it, but 4K just brings it out to a different level. And if you've got this release, there is a brand on the special features disc. There's a brand new making of documentary. Watch that. It's incredible. Shows how he built the set, and it's just amazing stuff. How he managed to do the bit where the boat goes like that before it sinks down. How they film that and that. Just great, 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 great. I enjoyed that nearly as much as the film. Yeah, Titanic 4K. I'd say if you're into your 4Ks, must have. And lastly, for the week, I delved back into that one. Watch number 2. Pretty much copy and paste number 1, but with a car crash instead of a plane crash. Don't need much saying about that. Yeah, give them a watch. Really good fun. So that's everything I've watched this week. Short and sweet. Let me know what you've watched of them, if you've liked them. And yeah, hope you've enjoyed. Give me a like if you've liked it. Don't worry if you haven't. Maybe subscribe and dingle me bell. Have a nice week. And goodbye from Blu-Roy Movies.